It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
No, they want to see me doing bad, but I'm good.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's been a really rough Monday for your boy Dave in the 702. I'm hanging in there. I'm doing my best. You know what's worse, Drew, than having a team that just doesn't make the Super Bowl is having the team that goes to the Super Bowl and doesn't win. That's probably the worst. That has got to be the worst feeling, man. And guys, I'm starting to think, shout out to my co-host True Evil from the City of Brotherly Love, guys, on a special Tuesday night edition of the Shoe Shine. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say the NFL is rigged. I'm starting to think my team might be cursed, and it might have something to do with the San Francisco 49ers leaving the city of San Francisco, Drew, and moving 40 miles south to where I was living before I moved to Vegas, to Santa Clara, California, because ever since they moved to Santa Clara, they've come up short in 3 Super Bowl appearances. Kaepernick, Jimmy G. Now we got Purdy. My team should have just stayed in the city, built a nice little stadium in Hunters Point on the waterfront. There's something going on. Anyways, guys, it's your boy Dave in 702, Tuesday night Shoe Shine edition. Drew, glad to have you. I know you're not feeling that well, guys. Be easy on him, Little Penny. I see you, Chicano Profit, Cincinnati Syndicate, Packable was in here. I appreciate you guys all being in here. I do have the phone lines open. And you know what? I don't care what you guys want to talk about, because tomorrow is Valentine's Day. And I spoke too soon. I said we're going to do a football wrap-up show. Yeah, no. Valentine's Day, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing any shows. So if you guys want to talk about the Super Bowl, fuck, I'll entertain that call too. Sound good? Let's roll, guys. All right, Thursday night, Teofimo Lopez versus Jermaine Ortiz. I was there. My whole family, all my cousins were at the NFL Experience right next to me at the Mandalay Bay going, what is Dave doing? Oh, he's at a fight, guys. I made a video, and I actually caught a little bit of heat for my post-fight reaction immediately after the fight. And I'm going to defend myself, guys, because if you don't have the opportunity to go and see live fights often, and those of you who are fortunate enough to go see them in person, you know that there's a million distractions. And in a fight as boring and as low output as you can get next to a Shakur Stevenson performance on F1 Weekend, you know that everything going on around you makes it impossible to see all the clean punches landed. And Drew, I swear there wasn't that many clean punches landed on both sides. This fight was really hard to score. And when it's hard to score, and I thought I was kind of coming down to a draw, I have to favor the guy going forward. That's my taste. That's the way I would, if I was a judge, that's how I would rule my scorecard. I like to see the guy going forward, pressing the action. And I know that you and I are probably going to be in disagreement about that, because we're in disagreement about who actually won the fight. And I'll just go ahead and say it. My first inclination was that Teo won that fight 7-5. On second thoughts, watching it post-fight at home on ESPN, the replay, I think it was kind of a draw. That could have gone either way. Could have gone in Jermaine Ortiz's favor, but they'll never take that from the house fighter. Guys, they don't take it away from Shakur Stevenson, and he's fights like Jermaine Ortiz, and he's the house fighter. They don't take it away from anybody that's the house fighter. And they actually took the fight away. The same performance Jermaine Ortiz did, Drew, they robbed Jesus Ramos Jr. on the Canelo undercard months back. Some judges in Las Vegas are just not going to favor that style of boxing. So take it away, Drew.
Nah, like, the dude landed more punches, the dude threw more punches. And the dude, like, look at it, I can't give it to a guy that's just moving forward and not doing anything. Dude couldn't even cut the ring off. So there's no reason you can give the fight to him. Like, he was fucking, every time he tried to cut the ring off, he'd get caught with a combination Tio. And, like, that's why I gave it to Ortiz. I thought he outboxed Teofimo the whole night, made him look like shit.
Well, he definitely made it. I'll tell you what was one thing that was very visible sitting wherever I was, my vantage point, was the fact that Teofimo was missing wildly. And everybody's already covered it, guys. Teofimo cannot cut off the ring against southpaws that move as well as him. We're not talking about Lomachenko's old legs, because in that fight, he actually did fight pretty well, Drew, as a southpaw. I think it was the Sandor Martin fight where Teo was extremely exposed, was knocked down, and Sandor Martin rightfully, in my opinion, in that fight, rightfully, I think the wrong guy got the nod. In that fight, Sandor Martin should have got the decision there. He did not only outbox him, but he landed that knockdown. And somehow Teofimo remained undefeated. Shout out to everybody joining us. I see Martinillo in the room. SB, thank you so much. SB, hey, Drew, she or he, SB agrees with you. I agree with that, with exactly what I said. And thank you, SB, for commenting. SB had dropped a comment and made a good point. I'm going to paraphrase it. Shouldn't the champion show that they're levels above the opponent? And in this fight, I think the argument they were making was that Teofimo didn't show he was levels above. So should we, just by virtue of being champion, should you get that extra point right off the bat, Drew? Obviously, I think I know your answer, but that is a good point, right?
Yeah.
All right, where's my people at that think that the running performance, the track star performance, and it's not running, guys. It was extremely slick boxing. Jermaine Ortiz hired one of the best Cuban coaches in the U.S. and put on a technician clinic, Drew. But what disappointed me about it was when needed to press the action, like he did against Lomachenko in rounds 1 through 6 of his fight with Lomachenko. I didn't see that, Jermaine Ortiz. And you and I talked about that fight earlier. We talked about it all week. Jermaine Ortiz has a very good chance of upsetting Teo. And I think had he fought better rounds 10, 11, 12, and really tried to close the show, he could have walked away with that title. He could have easily have walked away with that title. In fact, I don't think Teofimo will even had it in him to hurt Jermaine Ortiz. Looking at the size difference between Jermaine and Teo, I think Jermaine Ortiz would have handled his power shots just well had he engaged in the pocket.
That's another thing. Teofimo couldn't nail his power punches. He was throwing one punch at a time most the whole fight. Like,
looking for the big shot.
Yeah, and like if you look at it like this, if Jermaine would have went to him in those late rounds, you could have called it masterclass and everything. But like really, end of the day, this one guy won, and the guy that the house fighter is really big and technically forward when it comes to boxing.
Drew, if the past 2 years, people in general on YouTube have been very critical of Teofimo, some of it is his own doing. And at this point, it was just like a year ago that people were calling for Teofimo to part ways with his dad and saying, listen, just having your dad in your corner as your primary trainer, and he had other trainers before and he let them go. Obviously now, if he fights a southpaw like that, and guys, credit to Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz is not even a natural southpaw. That's incredible. That's incredible that fighting in his non-traditional stance, he was able to outbox Teo. In almost all the rounds, he was able to outbox him, not outscore or outpoint him necessarily, but really show that he had the better general ringmanship. He was able to do that in a southpaw stance, Drew. Josh Taylor couldn't do it. He's a natural southpaw. He got his ass whooped by Teofimo. Lomachenko lost that fight fair and square, in my opinion. So why with Sandor Martin and Jermaine Ortiz did he look like trash? Why is he so inconsistent?
They were bigger guys. And if you look at it, those guys, if they would have nailed the right punch, could have hurt him.
Well, I'll tell you who else was really upset about that performance, guys. If you guys don't know, the guy who put on the entire event, guys, this was supposed to be, leading ESPN, leading into the big Super Bowl weekend on a Thursday night. The numbers are not good, Drew, at all. In fact, they typically are excellent for Teofimo. When I talked to Teo and his dad just a month ago, we talked about the numbers that he's put on ESPN. Very disappointing. When people got caught wind of what type of fight was developing, like the Shakur Stevenson fight, 500,000 people max was the max at peak time for that fight on ESPN. Potentially partly because you live on the East Coast, too. What time was that fight starting? It's on a Thursday night, too, nonetheless.
It's like 11:30.
Yeah, not good. Not good, especially for a fight that was panning out to be that way. Bob Arum had this to say. Bob Arum on Teofimo Lopez versus Jermaine Ortiz. It was really terrible. We had Ortiz fight some big fights for us, and he was always very competitive. I agree, a good warrior. This wasn't a fight. He was running around the ring. That isn't boxing. I don't know how the officials scored it as close as they did. At most, I gave Ortiz 2 rounds, maybe 3. This was disgraceful. Is he getting another shot on Top Rank, Drew? He's one of these fighters on Top Rank that's performed very well, fought against Lomachenko, but doesn't necessarily have a guaranteed contract.
He might drop him, but tell you the truth, be a bad look if he drops him.
You think so?
Yeah, because I think the dude deserves a rematch.
I don't think he's going to be getting that rematch. I'm hearing people calling for a rematch, but I don't think. Jermaine Ortiz, by the way, shout out to him, was on the Boxing Voice earlier, and you guys can hear what he had to say about that. But let's look at the scorecard really quickly here, guys. Teofimo Lopez, Jermaine Ortiz for the 140-pound title. 117, 111. I have to. Steve Weisfeld is an asshole for that one. Seriously? No, not even if I wanted to be that gracious to Teofimo, could I come up with that scorecard? 115, 113 for Teo. You could make a strong argument going both ways because those early rounds, some of them were very, very much debatable. Swing rounds 1 through 6, they were very debatable. Not the last 3, in my opinion, but that's how you can come up with a draw or 7-5 either way. So that fight sucked, dude. I like what I saw a little bit out of Keyshawn Davis, Drew. We both were on a show one time with Keyshawn Davis. He jumped into the ring. He wants a piece of Teofimo, but I actually agree with Teofimo on this. Teofimo tells him, I'm going to tell you the same thing Lomachenko told me. You want to fight me, go out and get a championship. You're not a champion. You don't deserve to be in the ring with me. And Teo did that. He picked up how many titles before getting a shot at Loma. He did it. He one by one, he beat those champions at 135. Keyshawn Davis needs to win a title at his weight class, 135. The division is stacked. That means fighting Shakur Stevenson. That means fighting the winner of Navarrete versus I forget the Australian guy that for the vacant WBO. But you're gonna have to beat somebody at Top Rank that's a contender or a world champion and get a belt. And I agree with Teofimo on that. You can't just move up and cut ranks like all these other guys that are, you name it, Raleigh jumping up from 135 to 140 to get a title opportunity. I don't support any of that bullshit the sanctioning bodies do, letting guys just, cut the line. It's not fair at all. That's not the way it should be at all. But Drew, did you see anything in him defeating Pedraza, the old champion? You see anything you like there?
Pedraza's legs were going and everything. He was just looking for a payday. Like he moved back down from 140 to take that fight and everything. It was like a payday. He's done. Like, it was like right time to fight him and everything. So yeah, he was out of it anyway. I don't think Pedraza he was eventually going to get knocked out. By after the 3rd round, he was eventually going to get stopped.
Exactly. Well, guys, I mentioned this on my little post-fight thing that I saw a fighter that I had been watching closely on Thompson Boxing. I follow him on YouTube. He goes by, his name is Jorge Acosta, LUU. He was a big star on Thompson Boxing, that small boxing promotional company out of Southern California. You could watch them on YouTube, and I always enjoyed his content on YouTube. Drew, he shows up to fight. I had no idea. He's like one of these swing fights that they just put together at the last minute. He's a pretty good, I thought, a pretty good prospect, you know, that could potentially move on to larger promotional cards like Top Rank. This was his opportunity, and he gets his fucking ass handed to him by a guy who's like 5'4", 5'3". People around me were laughing, and they just couldn't believe that LUU, who's like 5'8", 5'9", people had heard of him. And he had a lot of people in the stands because they drove from Southern California to Vegas to see him perform. Dude, he got beat up by a little guy from Mexicali. You know, that's the way it is. You can never underestimate these Mexicali fighters. And woof, you know, like that, up in smoke. There goes your shot. Your one shot at Top Rank on the big stage. And I don't know. I have no idea. You know, some of these fighters, they say that they're always ready. They stay ready. But his mind wasn't there. I don't know if it was the bright lights or the pressure or just, you know, fighting someone he wasn't prepared to fight. I had no idea, but I hope the guy bounces back. But oftentimes, you know, you only get one shot. Maybe sometimes you get a second shot if they like what they saw. But even I didn't like what I saw. So I didn't like what I saw on the entire card on a Thursday night, Drew. That whole card sucked. Your final thoughts on Teofimo Lopez? Give me your thoughts on the 140-pound division, because I got some big news about that division.
He easily gets beaten by Devin Haney.
Yeah, I think that is the taking point away from this, is that I even thought that Teofimo could possibly, and in that interview I alluded to, is he going to clean out 140 pounds? I find it remarkably difficult from what I've seen. I do like the idea of him fighting Subriel Matias, and that is the big news, guys. Subriel Matias, who was fighting on PBC, not no more. Smart move from the Puerto Rican fighter, Drew, in my opinion. Forget that shit. Just signed a deal with DAZN and Matchroom Boxing. Eddie Hearn, the big Puerto Rican puncher, IBF World Super Lightweight Champion. This is the fight I want to see with Teofimo Lopez, because Teofimo Lopez, guys, his strength is counterpunching. He cannot fight when you are the one, when you make him lead. He just can't fight that great. When you make him lead, he's like kind of lost, right, Drew? You know, he had an opportunity to lead against Jermaine Ortiz, and he kind of floundered. And in this type of fight, Subriel Matias is a come forward type fighter in almost the Mexican style, Gennady Golovkin style. He just loves to fight in the pocket and tear you to shreds, man. And even with that long reach of his, he's an incredibly effective inside fighter. This is a fight that should potentially be a firefight between Teofimo Lopez. How do you see him in a fight like this, Drew? Teofimo Lopez versus Subriel Matias, should it materialize?
Oh, man, you know, it's tailor-made for Teofimo, but I want to count Matias out and everything. Think Matias can get some shots and potentially hurt Teo.
I think he probably could. I've seen how much power the guy generates. To me, that fight is still 50-50. The fights that aren't 50-50 to me is Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. Because if Jermaine Ortiz can have...
That's 80-20.
That in Haney's favor.
Yeah.
In Haney's favor. Exactly. Shout out to my boy Fonzie619. He says, what's up? What's up? What are we doing? We got to get our tickets to go see. Speaking of Matchroom Boxing, we got to go see Oscar De La Hoya, DAZN, next March. I believe El Camarón, William Zepeda is the headliner, and in the middle of March, right before the big PBC fight. That's something that I definitely want to go. So hit me up, Fonzie. We got to get our good tickets to the Cosmopolitan and see that. That's coming around the corner in just like 30 days. Sin City Syndicate says, is there a super fight left in boxing? Well, heavyweights. It's the only time people give a shit, Drew. We talked about it. May 18th? May 8th?
Yep. May 18th.
May 18th. Usyk versus Tyson has been rescheduled for all the titles, and that is a mega fight. international proportions. Obviously, that is a super fight. Most people around the world give a shit about who the heavyweight championship is. So Subriel Matias, guys, he's moving over to the zone. I hope Eddie Hearn will have some quality opponents for him. I think so, and I think that they can make some stuff happen if needed with Top Rank. I think that's very feasible. The big news, 140-pound division. We just talked about Devin Haney. Let's get on to that one, Drew. Bill Haney made it happen. Bill Haney, Mr. Raza, made the fight happen, Drew. After everything fell apart with Ryan and Raleigh Romero, because, Floyd was pushing him to fight Raleigh. That fell apart. Raleigh got his little dance partner in Pitbull Cruz coming up on April 30th or March 30th. That left the way for Devin Haney to take on an easy peasy fight against Ryan Garcia. And I think it's going to be a piece of cake for Devin Haney. April 20th, that's also 420. It's also the day everybody celebrates smoking weed, all the pot smokers, Drew. How easy is this fight going to be? And will be so easy that we may, like I put in this thumbnail, is it going to be a bore fest?
I don't think it's going to be a bore fest. I think Ryan's going to quit again.
In San Francisco, I was shocked that Devin Haney did what he did to Regis Prograis, the former 140-pound champion. I mean, he dropped him multiple times. Where did that come from? Chicano Prophet says, Mexicans for Haney. Yeah, actually, D-Style too. Shout out to D-Style Boxing. Says, Haney is a bigger draw than Teal. And by the way, guys, if you guys want to call in, the phone line is open. Well, Haney absolutely sold more tickets. There's people saying that some of them were given away. But Devin Haney says he is the new face of boxing. That's what he's going around saying, that he is the new face of boxing. And I have been seeing all the people rallying for Devin Haney, Mexicans for Devin Haney. Where is that picture? That one makes me crack up. Y'all seen that picture, right? Of Haney wearing the sombrero, Mexicans for Haney. Drew, you think that one goes the distance?
No.
You think Ryan gets stopped then, huh?
Yeah, he gets stopped in like 8 or 9.
Easy payday for him, Drew. They wanted to make everyone aware that Raleigh turned down the biggest payday of his life to fight Pitbull Cruz. But most of the time, Ryan Garcia is focused on arguing with social media influencers, poker players in Las Vegas. Everything is out in the open, Drew. In fact, I think I saw Ryan Garcia tweeting at a famous actress, and mind you, he brought a chick to the Super Bowl, but he was tweeting at a major actress if he could get a date. I can't make this shit up, dude. He's thinking about everything. He thinks about everything but getting ready for his fights, Drew. He's thinking about poker. He's thinking about who owes him money. He's thinking about new hoes. He don't think about thinks about everything but getting ready for a big fight against Devin Haney. And that's why Devin Haney, like you said, he could potentially stop Ryan Garcia. And what then? I mean, what then? You haven't won a title. You never won a title at 135. Now you've come up on the short end of 2 super fights, not ready, never got ready to fight these type of quality opponents. He's going to be having 2 losses. And then what? Rebuild him again? How many times did we rebuild Ryan Garcia?
Ryan Garcia is a misfit fighter. That's all he is.
Well, he's arguing. He's spending all his time on social media arguing with people like this guy, Bryce Hall, who I saw fight. I believe he's not a UFC fighter. He's a influencer that got in shape to fight in a bare knuckle fight. Like that's his accomplishment. He fought bare knuckle from being a YouTuber to a bare knuckle fighter. And that's who Ryan Garcia's beefing with online today. That's today. I don't know. Could be somebody else entirely tomorrow. But that shit is funny. Okay, guys. Today was a big announcement, and I was waiting. Lots of you guys in the chat were waiting for this big announcement from Canelo Alvarez on TV Azteca, which is the Mexican station, the Mexican network he has a deal with. He's got a deal with them to show his fights for free. And I actually thought that today he was going to announce who his opponent was. I know we were bantering online. Lots of people had opinions about who he was going to fight. Some people claim to have inside sources about who he was going to actually fight. He's going to fight David Benavidez. He's going to fight Jaime Munguia. And this is my favorite right here. My favorite opponent, Drew, right here. And I said, I'll pay gladly to see this one right here. Undisputed Super Middleweight Championship. Canelo versus Beetlejuice, Drew. I don't know why I still get a kick out of that. And by the way, guys, if you guys didn't watch my video, I put up a vlog. I'll tell you right now, if Beetlejuice fought Canelo, I think I could score some pretty damn good seats because Beetlejuice happens to be good friends with my friend High Pitch Eric of the Howard Stern Show, both members of the Whack Pack. You guys could go watch that vlog I did. If this fight were to actually happen, I think I could actually get good seats, Drew. And it's because of Beetlejuice that I once scored an hour-long interview with Paulie Malignaggi because Paulie loved Beetlejuice, and I knew Beetlejuice and also High Pitch Eric. I had never done a boxing interview like that, and Paulie entertained it. So anyways, Canelo is not fighting Beetlejuice. We will have to still wait, Drew. What do you think about that, though? He made it clear he's not fighting a Mexican fighter. It's not going to be Jaime Munguia.
It's either going to be Charlo, Crawford, maybe Benavidez.
He said an American fighter. Does he consider Benavidez an American fighter?
Yeah, he has to consider him an American fighter.
He's American. He's Mexican, American, and also, what's the other half? Ecuadorian American, yeah. I mean, I guess we can hang on to that hope, okay, that it could potentially be David Benavidez. All right, there was some other news here, too. Let me see what else is in the news here, guys. We talked about Canelo, the big fight. We're going to have to wait for that announcement. We talked about Subriel Matias just signed with DAZN and Eddie over at DAZN, which I think is going to be a very good fit. And then this weekend, we've got a lot of fights, guys. We've got fights on Thursday night. We have Jojo Diaz, Drew. Jojo Diaz, who, many of us have written him off as a gatekeeper. Thursday night against Jesus Perez. He's not going away, Drew, even with sexual assault allegations and his issues with alcoholism and sobriety. He's fighting, the day after, is this Friday or Thursday? Got my days all wrong. Thursday night on DAZN, Golden Boy from the Indian casinos, probably. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see what he's got left in the tank. We also have Friday night. I know that if you guys like, I just talked about Paulie. ProBox said that they would not do a show on Wednesday like they typically do because they do not want to force men to compete on Valentine's Day with they don't want to compete with men's wives and girlfriends. They're like, nah, we're moving Wednesday night fight to Friday night. They have a pretty good card on ProBox. And then, of course, on ESPN, this one is it, guys, on Friday night. It's not a Saturday night fight, but this fight is very, very good. Oshaki Foster, who just signed with Bob, will be defending his 130-pound championship on Friday night in New York City at Madison Square Garden. Oshaki Foster versus the Puerto Rican Abraham Nova. And I cannot get it out of my mind that Abraham Nova was knocked out by Robeisy Ramirez. Robeisy Ramirez, the guy who just lost his featherweight title, Drew, knocked out flat. And yet, he's supposed to be a real threat to Oshaki. What do you think about this fight?
It's going to be a knockout.
You think so too?
Osaki's going to knock him out. It's probably the, be honest, I don't know what the over or under is on this, but I think he gets knocked out inside 6.
Shout out to Mad Dog H. I just missed this comment. He says Beetle has more boxing IQ than Raleigh. He might just have overall more IQ period than Raleigh.
I think Beetlejuice has more ring IQ than Raleigh in one fucking hand.
You know what? I used to get a kick out of watching Beetlejuice fight those little people fights. I'm gonna be politically correct. Little people fights. I definitely got a kick out of watching those. Yeah, Oshaki Foster, he's, living a dream, guys. He defended that title in Cancun. This is a guy who Nobody thought he was going to win this title. People doubted him. Not only does he win the title, but in one of the best fights, I think, of last year, 2023, the 11th round, overall consensus by the boxing media was that it was the best round of the entire year. In Cancun, rallies back into 12th to, was it Rocky Hernandez, to defeat him and keep his title, man. Like what he did in that fight was straight Hollywood. It was a Hollywood ending. It was one of my favorite fights of 2023, and I'm looking forward to see how he deals with Abraham Nova, Drew. And question is, will Abraham Nova come out with that yellow mascot? Does he still have his mascot?
I think he said that mascot step in for him.
Chicano Prophet says, I think Drew is watching his OnlyFans live stream on his phone. Truth be told, guys, I don't think Drew isn't. You're not feeling too good today, are you, Drew? But it's winter, guys. It's winter. Y'all gotta give him a chance. So I have the phone lines open, guys. I'm gonna keep it open for a couple more minutes, and then we're just gonna call it a night and get back to our normally scheduled Monday night shows next week. Obviously, my heart is broken that the 49ers lost. They blew it.
Yeah, they choked.
They blew it. I was shocked that the field goal kicker, Moody, made a 55-yarder and then a 51-yarder. I couldn't believe that. But then I did believe that he missed that free field goal, Drew. 1 point. That actually would have been the game right there, 21-20, right?
Yeah.
Had he made that?
I look at it like this, man. Fucking the way that they were acting, they deserve to lose.
Jeez. And then, well, McCaffrey as well, too, a guy that is incredibly reliable. McCaffrey fumbles the ball in the red zone, essentially. And that obviously would have been 6 extra points right there. That alone there, too. But we can go on and on about all the officiating. I just came from the dentist, and even my dentist was saying, did you see all the blown calls? Did you see all the blown calls? I was like, well, I really wasn't paying attention to the blown calls.
Wasn't blown calls. Like, if you look at it like this, Brock Purdy showed that game that he's not a game changer. He's a game manager. And the fucked up thing is, man, that fucking Nelson Aguilar, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl that 1 year, fucking had more receiving yards as fucking Ayuk and fucking Deebo Samuel combined.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that Ayuk is incredibly frustrated and sounds like he wants to be traded. That'll be very interesting. It'll be interesting.
He's on a contract deal.
What's that? He's out of contract?
Next year is his contract year.
Yep. So there's going to be big changes. Obviously, it'll be interesting how Drew and I work Tailgate Talk into our repertoire going forward. Obviously, NFL draft is very important. There's going to be a lot of changes. How many shows, how frequently we can do as we wait till next fall, essentially, Drew. 2 shows a week, maybe for the shoe shine and some content here and there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's all we have for tonight. Obviously, Drew's not feeling too good. I appreciate it. All you guys that came by to hang out with the shoe shine. Thursday was a sham. The Super Bowl was a sham. I'm still crying about it. And we'll be back next Monday night, man.
See me doing bad, but I'm good.
Drew, final words, final thoughts, Super Bowl?
Wasn't a shame. That fucking Chiefs defense fucking was great.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, SB. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I want to thank out. Sometimes I don't get notifications on the names of subscribers, but there's been a lot of times where I've personally have felt like giving up on my YouTube channel, and the support of Drew, fantastic co-host, and people that support the channel and show me love, whether you guys send me a little something on shoeshine_boxing on Instagram, it keeps me going. It keeps me going. So thank you to everybody who's a recent subscriber, and share it. Share with a friend. Maybe they'll come here on Monday night, talk boxing, talk football, man. Thank you, Martinillo. He says, I hope you feel and get better, Drew. Thank you very much for the kind words, Martinillo. We will see you guys next week. Peace out, everybody.